I've talked about this quite a bit, but he or she or they who captures the best field data will win the AI game in the next 5 years, right? Because all of those inputs are going to be subject to what our technicians are collecting in the field. And the better job they do of collecting that information, the more AI can do with that information. So I tend to agree very heavily on that point. But, so the threat, as I look at it, just to put a finer point on it, is those restorers who are not leaning into field data collection and are going old school, like the way I was raised, where, hey, pen and paper, write down a paragraph of what you did, so then that way billing can guess what they need to invoice for your services, and rock and roll, right? Like those days are long gone. And if you're operating in that capacity, you will get left behind. And that's my concern, because there's a lot of great companies that provide excellent customer service and their field documentation is lackluster. So,
well, and that's a great point. And that begins with gathering the data at the site of the loss. Mm-hmm. Right? There's no surrogate for that. You can't hand the yellow pad to the people in the office and say, reconstruct this loss for us.
Yep.
So you got to get all those data points in initially. Then the analytics that you run on top of it are really important. And that's where it's all going to come. I think we're all going to learn so much about our business, both from a P&L standpoint and an operating standpoint, when we run these analytics against that data.
Yeah. So what's the, like, I always find that because there's so many moving parts in restoration, there are these things that we just can't stop thinking about as individuals. What's the one thing you can't stop thinking about relative to restoration?